What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Brandon Goggins back at it again with another episode of the Clippers Latest, where we talk all things LA Clippers, quick, fast, and to the point. We've got a lot to talk about today. The season is fast approaching. We got how long? Maybe a month or so until preseason starts, and then after that, regular season is gonna be here before we know it, y'all. And I'm really excited. I'm pumped. I'm thrilled for everything going on. I feel like we've made a lot of good moves in this offseason that will, at least have people looking at us. And I want to start off by saying that a lot of that was possible because of our current point guard. And I would just like to, take a second to shout him out. I actually think that he should change his last name from Harden to his heart is in the game. And I say this because Harden, he took a pay cut and he didn't have to. James Harden is a very established NBA player. He has won an MVP. He is multiple scoring titles. He has been on multiple all-pro teams, all-stars, you name it. His resume is stacked. It's full. But there's one thing missing from that resume that he really does want, and that's a championship. And I feel like him making this move was a very selfless way for him to let everybody know that he's serious. He's trying to win. Like, I think Harden is 36 years old, and let's be real, the clock is ticking. It ain't too much time left in the tank for Harden. So I think that he knows that it's win now, or I don't want to jinx it, but it might not happen. I really hope that's not the case. Well, shoot, I for sure hope that's not the case, because I hope that they win the ring this year. Like what? You know what I'm saying? That's the mindset that he probably has going into it as well, because obviously he's not the only older guy on the team. We got people that are 40. We got people that are 39, 37, We got a lot of older guys on the team, so I think that a lot of them are, having that mindset and that mentality to, create some extra space on the roster to go far and hopefully take home, the big prize in the Larry O'Brien. I do think that it is a good move. Obviously, we were able to bring in some big acquisitions in Bradley Beal, Brook Lopez. We were able to bring in John Collins and some other guys. I don't know. This roster is promising, and I think that we do have James Harden to thank for it. Just some guys that have already taken a pay cut, and we'll go through them and see what that meant for them. Steph Curry, he won a ring. Actually, no, he didn't just win a ring. He won 4 of them. Nikola Jokic, he won a ring. Kevin Durant, he won 2 rings. Tim Duncan, he won 5 of them. Obviously, before each of those, probably didn't take a pay cut each time, but these guys were willing to make sacrifices for the betterment of their team. And I think that's what Harden is trying to do right now. I think that he's trying to send a message, and I think that it's a clear message. It's just a matter of if the guys on the team really believe in themselves to be able to accomplish that goal, because clearly Harden has belief in the team. The rest of the guys just need to be on that as well. And I would like to think that some of these guys have that mindset, because, we've had a recent acquisition over the offseason that I previously mentioned that is in that mode right now. And yes, I am talking about Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was asked, why the Clippers? Why did you want to join the Clippers? It was simple. I need a ring. He need a ring, y'all. Like, it's simple as that. You can try to play the ring chasing card, and how people be hating on people that join these super teams to try and acquire a ring the easy way. But I don't think it's necessarily like that for Beal. Like I talked about earlier, I think that he wanted to join a team to where he knows that he's going to be surrounded by guys with a similar mindset. I just talked about how I think that a lot of these guys are in win now mode because of their aging roster, and they know that they don't have, years upon years of time to just, mess around and, experiment. Obviously, it's going to be hard to because we have so many new faces coming in and everybody got to gel together and get together. But that's kind of the benefit of having veteran players because they're able to come in and do that at a quicker pace than, a younger guy may have. Bradley Beal, this is his third team now. He had to adjust being the third to being the third option in Phoenix last year, and we saw that that wasn't his best season. But I will say in that he was behind Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. They were two of the top 10 scorers in the league last year. Bradley Beal probably had a hard time finding his footing, if we're being quite frank, if we're being honest. I don't know if he'll run into that problem on this squad. Obviously, it's Kawhi's team. He's going to be the number one scoring option on most given nights. Harden is a phenomenal scorer. Like I talked about, he has scoring titles. But in recent years, he's kind of pivoted his game to more of a playmaker. So he's shown that he's willing to take that step back. He showed that in Brooklyn. He showed that in Philly. He's showing that in LA. That he's willing to take that back seat and kind of let the guys score that need to score while he's also doing his thing, facilitating, making the right moves, and if he needs to explode for 50 every now and then, he still has the capability to do that. But maybe not as often as maybe 2017 or so. But in saying that, I do think that Bradley Beal is going to get a lot more opportunities to do what he needs to do in order to feel comfortable in the offense. And I think that this is a good roster created around him for him to do that. Also, Chris Paul, having him as a true point guard, he's going to find Bradley Beal. They're actually very close, by the way. I'm not sure if you knew that, but Bradley Beal was originally going to wear number 3 in Los Angeles. But when he heard that Chris Paul was coming back, it was respectable. He had to give Chris Paul the number 3 because it is CP3. I ain't never heard anybody say BB3. BB3. Nah. We ain't rolling with BB3, man. Throw that out the way. So, yeah, I do think that there is potential. Bradley Beal, he may get his wish. He said that the Clippers give him the best shot, and I hope that they can deliver that. And that's all going to tell, once the season starts. I think that once the season gets rolling, we'll see in the first few games how this team is looking. And speaking of, the NBA did just come out with the full season schedule. It's here. It's in writing. It's on the calendar. Everybody mark your calendars right now because we watching Clippers basketball as much as we possibly can. I know that these streaming services are trying to keep us from doing all that, but we got to make a way out of no way. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to do, where to watch it, how to watch it. I'm just going to say by any means, we need as many people supporting as we can. Now, you do that to the best of your abilities. I'm going to let you infer what I'm implying here, but know what I'm saying? You feel me? If you know of any websites to where, you can access a game, I think that you should look into that. I'm not going to tell you to do it, but just evaluate all your options, Let me go ahead and read the first 10 games of the season to you guys, just so you can get a feel for how we're starting things off. So, our first game is going to be on Wednesday, October 22nd against Utah. We're going to be at Utah. So that'll be, an interesting one to start off. I don't want to jinx anything, but we should win. We should win that game. We just took one of their leading scorers from there. So I know that they still got Laurie. I know that they still got Clark. I know they still got a few guys that will produce. But if we're comparing rosters on paper, it's kind of clear who should win that game. But time will tell. Like I said, I'm not going to jinx anything. The next game will be Friday against Phoenix. That'll be the first home game, first game in the Intuit Dome of the 25-26 NBA season, which, by the way, just the other day celebrated its first birthday. So shout out to Steve Ballmer and everybody involved in getting the Intuit Dome settled. Everybody, showed out last season. We saw the wall, how it affects players. We've heard feedback from the players and how it affects their depth perception at the free throw line. I think that's an incredible idea, very genius. And yeah, man, I'm excited for that one. Phoenix will be interesting. It'll be a revenge game for Bradley Beal. So let's get it popping, Phoenix. Like, what's up? Then we got Portland. After that, then we have the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center. Now, that'll be an interesting one for sure, because in terms of roster construction, I'm not going to say that we're pretty similar, but in terms of like aging veterans, they are kind of similar in that aspect. And every time the Clippers and the Warriors face off, it's a Pacific Division showdown. It's always cinema, and it'll be a good one to watch. But we gonna see. After that, we got the New Orleans Pelicans that Friday, and that'll be the last game of October. Play them on Halloween, so that'll be a spooky game. That one's at home. Then we got our first back-to-back of the season in Miami and then OKC. So we play Miami on Monday the 3rd and then OKC on Tuesday the 4th. Now, Miami, I'm not really sure what they're going to be looking like this season. They seem to be, I don't know what the adjective is for Miami at the moment, but I don't see them contributing to much winning basketball this season. Obviously, they still have stars in Hero and Bam Adebayo, but they haven't done anything that has moved me to make them think that they're, serious about contending for a title. And they can prove me wrong. They've proved me wrong in the past, so I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, I'm completely ruling it out, but I think that it's highly unlikely. So I think that should be a cool game, but the problem is we got OKC the next night, and it's at home. The thing about these games, they're both at home, so that gives us leverage there. But OKC is the defending champ for a reason, and that'll be our second real test of the season, as far as that. And then, interestingly, we got a break in between, and then we play Phoenix on that Thursday, and then we play Phoenix again on that Saturday. On Thursday, we're playing them in Phoenix. On Saturday, we're playing them at home. And then we finish with that 10-game stretch. We finish with ATL on Monday. So that means that we're playing the Suns 3 games out of the first 10. I don't know. Like, who is responsible for that? Like, and if you're watching this, like, why? I don't know. I'm just curious to know, like, what the strategy in doing so is. Phoenix is going to be cool. I mean, they got some new players. They got some new faces in, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green. And they've signed a few other guys that, can make them a competitive roster if they, do the right things. I don't think Phoenix will be as trash as people may expect them to be. But I do think that we have a better roster than them at the moment. And I think that we can, use our veteran presence as leverage to, win that series, because I'm not sure how many times we'll play Phoenix the rest of the year, but playing them 3 times in the first month is kind of crazy. So I can't imagine that, the series will go anything more than, well, I mean, they're a division rival. They're in the Pacific Division as well, now that I think about it. But still, I still feel like there won't be like an insane amount of games that we play them for the remainder of the season if we had already played them 3 times. But I could be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, and then Atlanta, they'll be an interesting team as well. I don't want to count them out, but I think that we can beat them as of now. And then I'm not even going to get into the next few games because we got Denver, then Dallas, then Boston, then Philly, and then Orlando. who I don't think is going to be somebody to sleep on this season. So that next stretch will be very telling as well. I think the first stretch is going to be good to like get a feel for where we're at, how we compare to other average teams in the league, and try to get a feel for our roster. I think it's a good warm up for these guys to work on their cohesiveness, play together. But then that next stretch is going to tell us how we compare against above average and elite teams. We just gonna see. It's gonna be a real test, and we're just gonna have to see. But I'm excited though. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm very pumped for what's to come. I think that we'll get to a really good spot. I think I see a lot of potential this season, as far as at least the regular season goes. I think that we are. That's me knocking on wood, by the way. Let me chill with that before I knock it down. But I'm knocking on wood that it will be a good regular season, and I think that we are a playoff lock. At the very least, a play-in team. But I think that we're better than that. But it's going to be a matter of if they believe that. But I hope that they do believe that, because we have been known as a regular season team for as long as I can remember. We actually have a streak of most seasons in a row at 14 with a winning record. And that's a very, impressive stat. Until I add in that we have the most seasons in a row with the winning record without a finals trip. Look, man, that gotta change this year, bro. That gotta change. That can't be our identity for too much longer, fam. I'm like, that kind of blows me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we're satisfied with mediocrity. Cause yes, we've had some elite seasons where we've reached the Western Conference Finals, where we've made deeper playoff runs. But we haven't crossed that line and going to the finals. That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's crazy. That just shows how satisfied we are with the regular season. But at the end of the day, the regular season doesn't mean jack. It don't mean jack. We need something to show for it. And even if it's a deep playoff run, who's gonna remember that in 20, 30 years? Oh my God. Oh, wow. The Clippers. You remember that time in 2026 when the Clippers reached the Western Conference Finals? Nobody gonna care about that if we don't go on to win. I'm thinking of alternatives. No, they're not going to care. So we need to make a statement this season, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. They're already counting us out because of our age. They're already counting us out because we have people like Chris Paul and Bradley Beal and James Harden on our team who have never won and are, heading towards the ends of their careers, and nobody has faith in them to contribute to any type of final success, realistically speaking. So I think that it's time to wake people up, because a lot of people are snoozing right now. We need to set that alarm and wake these We need to wake them up. And I think in doing so, we need to come out the gate like foot on everybody's neck. I said that in that first 10 game stretch that Golden State and the Thunder were going to be two opponents that we may need to worry about. We need to beat them. We need to let people know that we're not here to play. We're not here to back down to anybody. We're not inferior to anybody. We need to make a statement win each of those games. Phoenix, we play them 3 times. Bradley Beal, it's literally your chance to show them what they missed out on. A lot of people gave you some tough stuff for your performance in Phoenix. I'm looking at you right now, Bradley Beal. It's time to step it up and show them like what you about. You know what I'm saying? You can have an off year, but it's about how you bounce back from it. It's a lot, pending on this season. And I can say that if you underperform, you are going to have a lot of people in your Instagram comment section telling you whatever you think you're going to hear. I think we both know what the possibilities there are. And yeah, I think you need to take that into consideration and let that fuel your fire. That is the lower third for the 14 straight winning seasons and 0 finals trips. I forgot to change it because I was so passionate about what I was talking about. Because we need to get to the finals, y'all. 14 straight winning seasons, 0 finals trips. That's insane to me, dude. We need to fix that, and we need to fix it fast. But everything will be discovered in the first few weeks of the NBA season. Well, I'm not even gonna say that because it's an 82 game season for a reason. You have stretches where you're good, you have stretches where you're not good, and then you have stretches where you look like you could seriously be in contention for a championship. And I think that we need as many of those stretches as possible for people to take us seriously and actually view us as a threat to be a long-term postseason opponent. But we're gonna see all of that when we get there. And like I said, I'm excited to get started. This is exciting. It's gonna be a really good season overall for everybody involved, and it'll be one of the more interesting seasons to watch. Not to diss or anything, but you know, with Tatum and Halliburton out, I would say Dame, but he's no longer in the East. The East ain't really gonna be all that entertaining. I know that's crazy, but let's be real here. The last 2 Eastern Conference Finals, I don't mean like the round Eastern Conference Finals, but like the last 2 Eastern Conference teams that reached the finals were the Celtics and the Pacers. And now their 2-star players aren't going to be playing next season. So obviously that'll shift a lot of focus to like the Knicks and the Bucks and the Sixers if they decide to play well, the Cavs. But the more exciting teams are going to be in the Western Conference. We ain't even going to sugarcoat that. The West is better. And in saying that, we have a lot more competition over here. So we need to make sure that we're being talked about with those elite teams. Not like somebody that's inferior to them, but we on the same level. And if not, we can prove to be better. That's all I got for this video, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And we gonna catch you next time on the Clippers Latest. I'll catch y'all.